I'm Kathy Coslett, and welcome to Cooking Classic at the Culinary Arts Institute at Luzerne County Community College. And please meet Chef Gary Edwards from Fire and Ice on Toby Creek in Shavertown. How are you today?
Very good today. How are you?
I'm terrific, thanks. And you know what? You might know him because he has been granting our culinary wishes for what, like some 20 or 20 some years?
Something about that. Yeah, I started in the late 90s.
Okay, yeah, I don't want to give away your age or anything. I don't know if you
The gray hair does that.
Yeah, but why don't you tell everybody where you're at Fire and Ice now, and you're a co-owner.
Correct.
But some of us have been following you around, and we didn't even know it for quite some time.
Yeah, I started off in the 90s. I got my professional training at the Culinary Institute of America. I graduated in 1997. And I've been working in the area. Some of the places that I was the chef at was the Sojourner, which is one of the restaurants in Clark Summit, at the Inn at Nichols Village. I did catering there. I worked as the chef.
That was a great place, wasn't it?
Oh, the Sojourner was an amazing restaurant.
Yeah.
We did everything fresh from scratch. It was a great place for me to get my feet wet in the culinary field.
Oh, and it was so comfortable too, wasn't it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We did a lot of good comfort food. And
some of you probably remember that place. It's not just us. So
and
where
also
else?
the Raya House. I was the chef at the Raya House for a few years, and you know, it was a real eclectic restaurant, and it was it was a really good place for me to get my feet wet. I worked as a chef out in the Poconos at a very large resort, you know, cooking for the masses, and I came back to the Radisson Lackawanna Station Hotel, and I was executive chef there for about 5 years, including Carmen's and Tracks. At some point, I was doing cooking classes at the hotel. And I met my business partner, Joe Fasula, and he and I started talking about getting together and maybe doing something as a restaurant. And we started looking around, and we now have Fire and Ice on Toby Creek, which is in Trucksville.
We're going to head to the kitchen, so we'll see you in just a moment. Hello there, and welcome back. I'm glad you stayed with us here on Cooking Classic. I'm Kathy Coslett. This is Executive Chef Gary Edwards from Fire and Ice in Shavertown, Pennsylvania. And we also have about 90 students with us here today from the Wilkes-Barre Career and Technical Center. So welcome them, and everybody watching, thanks again for tuning in. Gary, tell everybody what you have on the menu today.
Well, today we're going to be working with some Kurobuta pork shank. We're going to be doing some comfort food. It's a real classical dish. We're going to be doing braised Kurobuta pork shank in a Weyerbacher beer with some whiskey, and we're going to do some pork shank and finish that with Cannellini bean puree with cauliflower.
Tell us about that Kurobuta pork. I know that's it's special, honestly, isn't it?
Well, yeah, it is the Japanese. It's from Berkshire, England. It's Japanese black hog. The marbling and even the color on it is just you know, really special. It's got a lot of flavor, quite a bit different than your standard white dried up pork.
And the marbling is really important.
Absolutely.
Correct?
Yeah, absolutely.
And that is for flavor?
For flavor and texture. And yep.
Okay.
We're going to be working with some different lower cuts of meat. I don't mean lower cuts as far as flavor, as far as cost. So this is some things that you could do relatively inexpensive to feed the family and bring everybody together in the house.
Let me ask, is that easy to find, or is there a substitute if people can't get the Kurobuta pork?
Well, I mean, we're working with a shank, so you know, we're going to be doing a braise, which is you know, to cook the meat in a liquid. That Kurobuta is available. I've seen it online. You can order online, and the pork belly really is. And somebody mentioned earlier, it looks like bacon. That's exactly what it is. It's bacon that has not been cured or done anything to it. Yeah.
Okay, if you want to get started, I'll just talk to you and you can talk to me as we go along.
Okay, sure. The first thing we're going to be doing is we're going to start off with our garnish. And when we plate up, we're going to see, I'm using a peeler here.
Very sharp peeler.
Yeah, well, it's a little different because it's actually doing a really fine julienne. Now I could do this with my knife, but I'm going to do it a little bit quicker here. And I'm going to just put that in the oven because I want to let that dry up. And when we get ready to plate, I'm going to use this as a garnish. And the garnish is very important, so we're going to start with that.
All right. Now, it is really important to, especially with a recipe like this with a lot of ingredients, that people really prepare and get everything out and ready to go, correct?
Yes, yeah, that's called mise en place, and I hope some of our students out there understand how important of a term that is. It's really, this is to have everything together. My pan is hot right now, that's my mise en place. See, he's telling me it's hot.
He's not kidding. All right, so in goes the garnish.
Yep.
All righty.
I'm just going to let that in a moderate to low oven just to dry out.
All right, and now our shank?
Yep, we're going to be doing the shank. I'm going to sear my pork shank in a little bit of flour. It's seasoned flour. It's got some cardamom in there. The cardamom's going to give it a nice flavor. It's an Eastern spice. And if you could smell this cardamom right now.
It's pretty strong, isn't it?
Yeah, it is pretty strong. Yeah. No, I have this already ground up in the pestle, the mortar and pestle, and it's right in the flour.
Besides that, what else do you have in the flour?
Just a little bit of salt and pepper. I didn't want to overcomplicate the dish.
So we just added a little bit of oil?
A little bit of oil, certainly.
Any special type of oil? Or?
Nothing too descriptive, just the vegetable oil. And I'm cooking in a Griswold here. This was actually my mom's Griswold. She's not with us anymore, but you know, this was her Griswold. And
I have one of those too.
Yeah,
how about that?
It's a great piece of equipment to work on. It holds the heat quite well. So what we're going to do is we're just going to sear the pork in the flour. And the flour is actually going to act as a thickening agent a little bit later. So we want to save some of that flour.
And we have to make sure that that pan is really hot, correct?
Absolutely. We want to start with a hot pan because what we're doing here now is this is called Maillard reaction. If any of the students out there are studying their meats, they would know that you know, browning of the meat would be a Maillard reaction. And then we're going to caramelize some of our vegetables here in a couple of minutes.
Okay. So about how long will that actually take to brown? In
well, this is going to take a little bit because it's quite a large cut of meat. I put on the recipe it's going to braise for about an hour and a half, and that really depends on the size of the shank. You know, so you know, if you have a larger shank, it's going to have to be fork tender. We can talk about that.
And you can get that recipe online, of course, here at Luzerne County Community College. All right.
So next up, then we're going to be doing our mirepoix, which is be our onion, celery, and carrot. And I'm just going to cut my carrot a little bit rough because this is a rustic type dish, and I really want to. I don't want it to be too fancy. I want it to be a little bit comfort, and I'm going to start off with the carrot. So we're starting to brown the pork shank here, and again, just to talk about the pork, it's if you noticed earlier, the pork itself is very, very red. Almost looks like venison.
It did.
It's you know, it's really it's just a different breed. It's a pure breed of the black hog. It's got a lot of marbling and it's got a lot of flavor. And
now, if that's going to braise for about an hour and a half or so, how often are you going to turn it?
I'm going to turn it about 2 to 3 times. I'm going to check it.
Okay.
You know, so
all right.
And that way you get even cooking because you don't want one side to be dried out.
Okay. So you did your carrots. What would you do next?
So now I'm going to put the carrots in next. Okay. And the reason I'm going to put the carrots in first, carrots, onion, and celery are like pretty much the base for most cooking. I'm starting with the carrots. Yep. Because the carrots are they have a lot of liquid in them, and they're hard.
Okay.
And now I'm going to start to caramelize. And what's happening here is we're browning up the vegetables, and we're starting to bring out some of the sugars, and we're going to sweeten the dish and really give it some well-rounded flavors.
The carrots are loaded with sugar, aren't they?
Yep. And when you caramelize, you're going to bring the sugars out. A little bit of kosher salt.
I was just going to say that it's kosher.
Yep.
See, there we go.
Nice and yep. And we're going to put some celery in there. Yep. Now I'm using onion, celery, and carrot. I got some parsnip here. There's no real rules to this. If you wanted to put some parsnip in there, some turnip. Again, this is a comfort food. This is the kind of dish that would stew and the family would come together, and you know, so really you could substitute quite a few different things.
It smells wonderful. I don't know if you guys can smell it out there, but it really does. This is great. All right. Your favorite part.
Yeah, my favorite part.
He just found this, he said,
Oh,
right?
this is wonderful. Well, I wanted to incorporate some flavors of the season, and this is a maple Crown Royal, and it's going to have a nice, you know, maple flavor.
And it smells just like maple syrup,
It does, yeah.
actually.
It's wonderful, yeah. So we're going to do a small flambe, and you have to be really careful. Don't do this, you know, you have to be very careful so that you don't... All
right, I'll back up. There we go. Watch for that there.
And we're going to burn off some of the alcohol on that.
Okay. That's kind of an important thing for people to know too, isn't it? That the alcohol burns off.
Yeah, most of the alcohol really does burn off. Yeah, after a couple hours of cooking in the oven, there's really no residual alcohol.
Oh, look at that. That looks
You got
beautiful.
nice brown pork shank there. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Now, again, we are braising, so talking about the techniques of braising, we're cooking within a liquid, okay? So you want your product to be covered at least halfway with liquid. Part of the liquid that I'm going to use here is some fresh chicken stock that I've made at the restaurant. This is a Weyerbacher seasonal beer. And we're going to put a little bit of chicken stock in here.
Okay. So a Weyerbacher seasonal beer, can you use any beer that's in your house, or is there a dark beer better than a light beer?
Depending on what you're doing. I mean, I've done some things with Guinness. Like, you know, Guinness is a really good cooking beer because it's nice and bitter and it can work on the sweetness. So you can substitute, you know, depending on your taste.
All right. There we go.
Okay.
Our garnish is ready.
Ready.
Okay.
And we'll put that to the side.
Okay.
Now, the parsnips and carrots are going to be nice and sweet. So when we go to plate up our dish, they're going to sweeten up a little bit.
We're going to put this in the oven, and then when we return, we're going to move on to the pork belly portion of today's recipe. So we'll see you in just a minute.
Are you looking for a college that's right for you? Luzerne County Community College has more than 100 majors to choose from, convenient class times, and many online courses. Transfer your degree and continue your education at a four-year college. Work with modern equipment found in the professional world, all at the area's lowest tuition. Make it happen at Luzerne County Community College.
We are back, and we're about ready to move on to the pork belly section of this comfort food recipe with Chef Gary Edwards. So I'm the one that said, oh my gosh, that looks like bacon. And it does, doesn't it?
It is. It's just uncured, salted bacon. So basically for the pork belly, we're going to do the same principle here. I'm doing it separate so that I can adjust the cooking time and it's not stuck in there. And actually, when this is done cooking, I will incorporate it in with the pork shank so all the flavors go together. Okay. So what I want to do is I'm going to get a little bit, and I'm going to put a little bit of bacon in here. And the reason I'm going to do a little bit of bacon is I want to get a little bit of the smoke flavor.
Okay.
And I also want to render some of that fat, and I want to, you know, sear my my mirepoix in some of that fat. Okay.
And your mirepoix again is made
onion,
up of
celery, and carrots.
Onion, celery, carrots. There you go. That's all that's going into this.
And I'm actually going to put the cinnamon right down in there. I want to.
So you put about 3 cinnamon sticks in there?
Yep. And again, we're going to add a little bit of mirepoix in here for flavor.
There you go. And now how long will this actually cook for?
This is going to cook in the oven. It's going to braise in the oven for a good hour.
Okay. So you have lots of time in between to do other things.
Dishes that you would put in the oven and wait for your guests to arrive.
All right.
This is the anise licorice type flavor here that we got.
Here, got it.
Yep.
He's very self-sufficient.
We're going to cut the base away.
All right. I was wondering how you did that with this, what part you used.
Yep.
All right. He's showing off now.
Just a little julienne.
Okay.
And you can hear the sound of the pan change as I add the different ingredients. And again, I'm using a Griswold. I'm a big fan of using a Griswold for this type of cooking method because it retains the heat.
So a Griswold, we're really talking about a cast iron pan,
yeah,
correct?
Cast iron pan, yep. I'm going to put a little bit of garlic in here. So you're going to
love
have
garlic. Yeah.
Put a little extra in there for you then.
Very accommodating guy.
That's right. We're chefs. Serve and protect.
It's all about us.
That's right. It's all about the customer. And we're going to sweeten this up a tad with the honey.
Oh, this is amazing.
A little bit of brown sugar.
Brown sugar. All my favorite things are going into this.
And a little bit more beer. This is just a cooking method. Again, we're going to cover this halfway.
Okay, so now probably by about this point, these are going to come out almost together, right?
Yeah, pretty much,
Yeah.
yep. And this is our shank here.
All right. And when we come back, we're going to do the vegetable portion, the side portion of this meal. We'll see you in just a minute.
Make it happen at Luzerne County Community College.
We are back. I am with Chef Gary Edwards, and we have students with us today from the Wilkes-Barre Career Technical Center. And we are on to the third part of this recipe, which is the
Cannellini bean.
Cannellini. I have a thing with that, don't I? Yeah.
This is going to be the starch for the dish, and we're also going to mix this with some shallot and some celeriac and some cauliflower. We got some fresh cauliflower here. Okay.
What is celeriac?
Celeriac is a good question. I was wondering if you were going to ask that. This is celeriac. It is the root of the celery. In Europe, this would be more commonly used. In fact, it's very aromatic. If you could smell that, what does that smell like?
Give me a better hint.
Celery.
I was kidding.
It's got a really good, rich celery smell, really full-bodied. And again, it's white. It's going to go along with the dish here. So this is actually, the root. It's a little dirty, so I have one here.
I never saw that.
Yeah, you can get it in the market. So I already have this peeled. It's a little dirty, so you have to wash it really well. And I'm dicing this up into a small dice because I want it to cook quickly.
Okay. Why did you select these vegetables to go along with your shanks and pork belly?
I wanted the flavors all to match, the cauliflower and the celery. Again, this is a hearty, fall, winter type dish that, it's a good comfort food. We're going to a little bit of oil.
And again, it doesn't matter. Vegetable oil's fine, so we don't get any different flavors going on there.
Right, yep. I'm going to be a little descriptive.
Okay. Celeriac, that was.
Yeah. And this is a shallot. Cross between onion and garlic.
This has great flavor, doesn't
it?
It's really nice. It is.
And this is a little unique because I'm taking and I'm going to do my vegetable and my starch all as one. It's going to be the side.
Okay. This is a beautiful cauliflower, by the way. Yeah, it's nice and white and fresh.
Yeah, very fresh.
Yeah, it's nice.
The quality ingredients is very important.
So about how long will we keep that in the pan?
Well, they're probably about 7 minutes.
Okay.
Again, a little bit of salt and pepper. This is going to go with the beans. I've already pre-cooked the beans. These are the beans. Normally what you do is you would soak them overnight. It kind of takes some of the gas away from them so they're not quite so gassy.
So you would soak them overnight in about how much water?
Just enough water to cover them by about 2 inches.
Okay.
Because they will absorb some water.
And then what? What would the next step be?
Well, we're going to put a little bit of stock. Of course, we don't have to use chicken stock. We can use vegetable stock. We're going to finish our dish with a little bit of chive.
Okay. That looks spectacular. It smells good too.
And some tarragon. The tarragon is going to go nice with the fennel.
All right,
We'll
so you're just taking those off and you're going to put the leaves in, just
That's right,
peeling it off the
That's right.
stalk, for lack of a better word.
It's
Here
a
we go.
pluche.
Tell me again.
A pluche.
A pluche.
Our cauliflower is cooking down there.
All right.
And let's take a look and see how our
That's,
product's doing here.
oh, that looks spectacular.
Our
Okay,
pork
so we're
belly.
ready to take that out?
Yep, our pork
Oh.
belly is nice and braised.
Oh my gosh.
You can
That's
set that to the side
incredible.
here. And our pork shank
pork
is also
shank.
finished.
There we go.
It should be fork tender. And just so that it pulls apart with a
Right.
fork.
Okay. So at what point then will the beans go into this?
Well, we want the cauliflower to cook down a little bit,
Okay.
which it has.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to add the
There we
beans.
go. Now, obviously, if we don't want to soak the beans overnight, we can buy canned.
Correct.
So
if
would you
had to.
drain them?
Yep, you would drain them. Cream.
Yeah. And taking that top off.
Yeah, in fact, you see it there, a little bit
Mm-hmm.
of the top. It's so rich and so fresh that you get some nice cap of fat on the top. Okay, we'll put a little bit of butter in here. And it operates
There we
like
go.
this, you know. And what it does is it will push all of the product through the mill,
Okay.
and then we'll collect it in the bottom.
Okay. So why do you like to use something like this as opposed to a food processor or something?
Well, I don't want to over whip my beans in my product here. So if I use a processor,
Right.
it would kind of agitate it, and it would be a little bit
Okay, so-
starchy.
because we're keeping with that whole rustic kind of theme too,
Right,
right? So with
And
this,
you can
keep it-
actually, I mean, you could cook this down and just smash it if you wanted to with a potato
Okay.
smasher. You know?
Okay. That looks great.
We're just
Okay.
mashing our cauliflower and our beans and get my morning workout.
This
If
is
it gets
a
clogged,
picture,
you go
isn't it?
backwards.
Okay, and then after this, will we be ready to plate, do you think?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, then we're going to
Come
take
back.
a break, and you're going to get to see the finished product. This is terrific. See you in a minute.
Are you looking for a college that's right for you? Luzerne County Community College has more than 100 majors to choose from, convenient class times, and many online courses. Transfer your degree and continue your education at a four-year college. Work with modern equipment found in the professional world, all at the area's lowest tuition. Make it happen at Luzerne County Community College.
Welcome back to Cooking Classic. We are at the end of today's recipe. Our Kurobuta Berkshire pork shank is ready to be taken out of the oven. How do you like that? Give me
It's
five, buddy. We did that one, didn't we?
And there she is.
That looks beautiful, and it smells great.
Yep,
too.
we uncovered it because I wanted the sauce to reduce a little bit in the oven, which it has.
This is incredible. This is the time when I wish you all could be here because this is amazing. You really need to try this.
Now our sauce is nice here. You stir that in. And to check for doneness, we just want to pull with the fork.
Look at
And
that.
when it pulls nicely like that, it's going to be nice and tender.
Okay.
And that's important. You want the pork to be nice and tender. You don't want to undercook it, and you don't want to overcook it either. It'll be dry. And here we have our pork belly. And let's take a look at this guy, see how it's doing.
So, okay.
So this is the slab of pork. Mm-hmm. And we're just going to cut it.
Look at that. That's amazing.
And it's actually a lot more meatier than you would expect.
You know, when I first saw it on the plate before you cooked it, I thought
Look,
about
it's all
that. I
meat in
thought,
here.
oh my gosh, that looks so fatty. But you're right. When you see it here, and when you do this at home, you're going to see how much meat there truly is.
There really is a lot of meat on that.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Okay.
It's like a little sandwich.
And we have our cannellini beans.
We do, our cannellini, the one that I have
want to see how this is for salt and pepper. Everything has to be tested for salt and pepper. It does need a little bit of salt.
Okay.
And a touch of cracked pepper.
A little bit of pepper. Want me to give that a stir for you while you
Sure, go ahead.
Plate?
Sure.
Okay.
Watch, this might be hot.
Okay. Well, I'll grab one of these just in case. Oh, you did it.
Yep. Now again, this is a rustic dish, comfort food.
Yeah, it really looks nice.
Plate up really nice pile of the whipped, pureed cauliflower,
oh my gosh,
cannellini.
There we go.
And our pork shank. Just going to kind of set that right up on top of it, right there. We're going to place our pork belly around it.
So now when you, this is a silly question, how would you do this with 2 or 3? Would you just use a larger plate for presentation with your
or maybe
group of friends or whatever?
In a platter, absolutely, yep. Want to get those nice carrots, you got some apple in here.
This is absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for coming in.
Well, thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
It's a pleasure to do this and to teach and watch the students enjoy the demonstration. We have our
garnish that you did
here,
in the beginning.
And kind of put that right up on top like that.
That is beautiful.
And if you want to get, we're going to, like I said, we're going to have the tarragon.
There we go.
And we could put a little bit of julienne red pepper on here. Yeah.
Very thin.
Give it a little color.
Yeah.
And there we have our finished dish.
That's absolutely gorgeous. I can't wait to taste it, and I hope you'll all try this at home and stop in to see Chef Gary at Fire and Ice. Thanks so much. Students, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.